3, 2, and 1.
Hey, welcome back, man. This is LL Lenard.
Hello.
Welcome back into our living room, our space, you know what I'm saying? Just coming to you, hey, give you a little bit of information on how we rock, how we do, and I don't want to say how our marriage should go, but just kind of how we flow in our marriage and the many C's of marriage. The many C's, because there are many, but we're just going to talk about a few, all right? So I'm Anthony.
I'm Jackie.
And, here we are. So, we came up with these things, just to kind of bring to the people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to switch it up. I was going to go a different route, but I'm going to switch it up.
Okay.
All right? So.
That's how you know it's unscripted, because I don't know what he about to do.
But, no, seriously, how do you feel, or do you think that I am considerate of you, your feelings, and how? So let me just back up. So one of the many C's that we're going to talk about right now is consideration. So I want to see how I am considerate of you, or if you think I'm considerate of you and your feelings and all that good stuff. So what are your thoughts?
Well, you are actually the most considerate person ever. Like, you, babe, guess you. Yay. Like, you really do. Like, every little, you think before I even think. Like, you get things before I even have to ask about them. You're very thoughtful, which I guess is the same as considerate. So you consider me before you all the time. Like, yeah, all the time. And I'd be like, that's good. Like, you didn't have to, and I appreciate it. But yeah, you're like overly considerate, and it's just your personality that makes you that way. And it's great for me. It's great for me because in the beginning, like, I wasn't in another relationship, I wasn't considered. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when we first met, like, it was weird.
Like, what was weird? Like,
well, just to always be considered or valued and, like, worried about and things like that. I remember when we first started, dating and married, like, you would always want me to call you when I got to work. And I was like, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like, I know how to get to work and come home, and, like, why I gotta let you know every little step I take? And then it took me a while to realize, like, that it matters. Like, that's important. And then when I started considering that for you, like, I like want to know, like, when you made it to work, like, you made it to work okay? Things like that. But in the beginning, like, nobody cared, like, about me like that.
So what about that process made you get it, or made you understand it? Like, what made you understand it, and what changed your mind that that I was being considerate of you, and again, I guess you just told me kind of how it made you feel, or did you?
Well, I just had something to weigh it against, and I had to realize, like, you didn't have this and now you have it. So, like, he's asking, like, you were literally asking, like, all I want you to do is just let me know when you get to work. And I'm like,
but do you understand why I did that?
Yeah, because you cared about me and my safety,
okay.
and all of that. Yeah, okay. I understood.
Okay.
But I don't think at the time I understood. I was just thinking, like, that was annoying. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was single, and even when I was in a relationship, it was like I was single. Right. So I was, like, doing it on my own. And so now you're trying to consider, like, where I'm at, and be considerate of everything. And I was just like, I got it.
Right. But I think because too you were just so, when we met, you had always been so independent. Like it was always like, dude, like, I can do it. And I'm like, no, you're not gonna do it, because this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm going to do. and you did fight me for a while, and you finally relented and was just kind of like, okay, either I'm not gonna win this battle, or this dude really is for me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's not just trying to steal the cookie and leave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I remember, and this is probably way off subject, but I remember like you used to tell me like, you so spoiled, you spoiled, and I used to be like, no, I'm not. Like, you're not spoiling me. You're not. Right. I'm not spoiled.
Right.
And like he opens up the doors, and like I would my hand popped if I try to open up the door for myself, the car door, the working into the doors and stuff like that. And I'd be like, oh, sorry, like I can get in, but I understand. Thank you. And I didn't realize I was spoiled until I went to go to my sister's house and to take her somewhere. And I went inside, like, oh, come on, let's go. And I'm driving. And I go to my car and I stand by the passenger door waiting. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my God. Like waiting for Anthony to open the door. And I was like, he's right. I'm hecka spoiled. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's just like, you just like really consider every little thing, every little part of me. Like, you always want to make sure that I'm completely satisfied. In everything. In everything.
Yep.
Very selfless.
Yes.
Act.
Yes.
On your part.
Yeah. And I'm not. And I'm gonna get off of it. I'm not. And that's one of the things that has always been instilled in me is to not only be considerate but be a provider, a protector, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just something that I always done.
Is it natural?
Yeah.
Or did you like try to create like, I want to be this better
person? And this is not like a knock on anything, but like when I got out of a previous relationship, I was like, these are the things that I'm not gonna do going into the next relationship and possibly, hopefully marriage. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things, I was just learning and growing, because and I'll get into this later, and probably one of the other mini C's that we're going to talk about is, I wasn't always faithful, growing up and doing it, you know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things where I was just like, every time I was just trying to get better and better and better. And it was just like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And then I know how my grandmother raised me too. You know what I'm saying? And when certain things happened to me that I didn't like, I was just kind of like, yo, I see how she felt. So it was just one of those things where I was just like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Nah, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So and even still today, I'm still continuing to learn how to be considerate of you and how you would feel and your feelings, and like if I do this, what if she did that? You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, ooh, I probably. And
I used to have to bring up stuff to you.
Did.
I used to always say, if I did that to you,
would you?
How would you feel? Because you would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Absolutely. You're right.
So you have had to battle considering me
for sure
as well.
For sure.
Yeah, I forgot about those moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did have those a lot.
A lot, yes.
Yeah, and so I appreciate that change because those were issues.
Okay.
And that I don't have to deal with anymore.
Cool. Okay. So with that being said, we have another C that we're going to talk about, and that is compromise. Where is it do you feel we don't, where do you feel we compromise and where we don't compromise? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So where what don't we bend on and what do we bend on?
Yeah.
I think we're good at compromising. Like,
yes.
Yeah, like we are pretty good at the compromise because most things we actually agree on.
Right.
Of doing.
Right.
So it's not like a real hard battle.
Before though, it was a struggle.
Yeah, but what is one thing that you can think of off the top of your head that was hard to compromise? I'm pretty sure it's probably something on my end.
Really? I think money.
Yeah, money.
I think
that's so true.
especially when we didn't have none. it was
That is so
it
true.
was difficult. But then too, I will also say, you know, some of it, or I would say 90-something% of it was my fault because, you know, I wasn't doing a whole lot of what I was supposed to do with the money, you know, when it was of abundance and when it was few and far in between. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things where, you know, mentally and privately, I thought I was good.
Right.
You know, I thought I knew what I was doing, but with your financial background at the time, like and just kind of you being able to figure it out, like I was like, man, I ain't relenting. I'm not giving this up. I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? So
I was not compromising.
I was not trying to compromise at all.
Mm-mm.
I was just like, man, I go make the money, man. You don't tell me what to do. I give you what I need to give you, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that caused a lot of tension too, you know, and that caused some issues, you know.
You weren't mean about
I wasn't,
it. Like
no, I wasn't. No.
Like you was like, you
No,
knew what
no.
you wanted to do. That might have been your internal.
Yeah, but I wasn't. Yeah,
but
I
you
wasn't.
just wasn't
Yeah.
compromising at all.
At all, I wasn't.
You wasn't compromising at all.
But it was my pride though.
Yeah.
It was my pride, you know, and I did not want to relinquish or compromise in that area of our relationship at that time. And
that was years.
And it was years ago, you know.
It was years of it.
I mean, yeah, but years ago
years
too.
Ago, yeah.
But still, it was definitely it brought us hardship, both mentally, physically, you know, and emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
The marriage was.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. And even in that time, I like I'm gonna tell you how I got my act together because she used that D word and I was like, what's that? What? Divorce. I was not trying to do that.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I just for one I know and I knew what I had. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, you know, we were not in a position in our faith to really, you know, grow and learn. And well, for me, just to be the head in that manner. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah. So.
Yeah. Wait.
What?
If you want cheaper auto insurance, home insurance, call 1-877-855-8111. Tell them Jones sent you at 519-KU.
What she said.
It was that was. I'm glad you thought of that because I wouldn't even. That's how it proves like when you move past stuff. So if people get stuck and decide to leave in that hardship, we would have missed out on all of these good years that we had.
For sure.
Since then, if we would have been like, you know what, this is not gonna work.
Right.
Like I am done with you.
Right.
Like you got to be able to look 10 years ahead. Like we can possibly get past this, but we got to communicate.
For sure.
And compromise to get somewhere.
For sure.
So those two C's right there matter. But I wouldn't even when the D word when divorce was brought up, it was literally just in a conversation. I think like we asked or something like, have you ever thought about it? And I was like, yeah, I have. I definitely have. And you was like, what? And I was like, I thought about it. It's not like I was gonna do it. Remember, I was like, I wasn't gonna do it. I was like, but I thought about it. I thought about like it'd be so much easier if we were not together because I was doing just fine by myself.
Let me tell you something.
And you were so shocked.
I thought I was going through Beyond Scared Straight. I was like, huh?
Yeah, he was like, what? And I was trying to explain to him like how I thought of it. Like I was like, it was a thought. I didn't pursue it or go any further, but at one point in the relationship, did I ever think like I could have did this by myself and it would not be this hard? Absolutely. I did.
I absolutely agree. I'm
glad it didn't go that route.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm glad we pushed through and we're here where we are now. So
no doubt. Now, here's another one. And I told you, let me just back up, and so I came up with the marriage of many C's just because most of them was probably my fault. So so I'm Scout's honor. I'm being honest. You know, here we go. All right. So here's another C that I know that I know you can expound upon a whole lot is consistency. I lacked consistency a whole lot, right? And I know you based everything upon that. You know what I'm saying? And I and mentally, so sometimes men are a little bit, slower than women. Not mentally slow, but just behind a little bit in certain things. I can say when it comes to the mental aspect or the mind, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the maturity level, definitely kind of slow to pick up, I'm not afraid to admit that, and I'll just say, so everybody don't be like, oh man, you tripping. I'll just say me. I'll put myself on the fire. It was just I was not mentally mature enough to be consistent, right? There were some things I know I did well, blah blah blah, but there was a component which is consistency that you always wanted to see. Not saying that you were perfect, however, you were well enough to know that consistency needs to be.
It was important.
It was very important. Very, 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 very important. So those things right there, man, are one the consistency component was one of the things that drove a lot of different other issues as well. So
because I'm a big thing on feeling stable.
Stable.
Yeah, I'm a big thing on feeling stable, and when things get rocky that I know can be controlled, then I have an issue.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, things are not consistent.
Right.
It's unstable, and I'm uncomfortable, and so something has to be done. And then if I offer a solution, and then there's no compromise, and I'm like, my world is like, I don't know what else to do. Like I'm giving all the nuggets.
Right.
I think of the right things, and it's not working.
But here, let me tell you something that I've learned.
Yes, sir.
Right. So without consistency, there's no sustainability, and without no sustainability, there's no trust.
Right.
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 And even I'll even go so without consistency, there's no sustainability, and no sustainability that you can't compromise, and without compromise, you can't trust. You know what I'm saying? So if you have those components, and really that equals the two D words, disaster and divorce. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where we had to mentally, sometimes men, we have to mentally understand where they're coming from. If we get out of ourselves, and inside of a man, we're built, we're animalistic human beings. In our nature is to be the lion, to be the head, to be the this, to be the that, but with that brings pride. Right. And with that pride, it definitely brings upon an attitude and a facade or I guess I'll say an attitude that presents itself as like, no, I'm this guy.
Right.
I got it. If I don't want to be consistent, I'm not going to be consistent. But that's where we mess up, especially in the relationship, in the marriage, because then when that happens, we got to deal with you and your personality and your attitude or whatever it is that you may not understand why we're
Where
doing.
it's coming from, like,
you know
why?
what I'm saying? Exactly.
Like, why the heck he acting like this? Like, he don't listen. He doesn't, like, what I say don't matter. It's not important. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's this clash, or you think I'm nagging and I'm just trying to get your attention and get you to listen to me so we can be better, but you ain't hearing none of it and ain't budging and don't want to budge.
And that's where the Bible talks about we have to take up our cross and deny ourselves. We have to deny ourselves, deny our flesh, and a lot of times that's all it is our flesh rising up, and we have to just kind of and it's on both sides, but I think the male does it more because we are portrayed as the most dominant figure in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And so once I relinquish my pride, and you're probably going to hear that a lot throughout the video, once I relinquished that, and once I gave that up, once I denied and died to myself, man, everything that everything just kind of helped change.
It did.
It did.
It did.
You know,
The shift in
the
the
sh-
atmosphere.
Completely
changed for
Absolutely.
the betterment. Thank you, Lord.
and let me say this too. It's not that I was trying to be a punk because I backed down. It wasn't the fact that I was being soft, you know, because, you know, I let my pride down. I died to myself and, you know, came to a position where we compromised and was able to be considerate of others, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't one of those things where I was being soft, because I'm not soft. However, you know, in a relationship, in a marriage, there has to be what we're going to call right now is a communication. You know what I'm saying? So without that communication component, none of it matters. So you can have the consistency, you can have the consideration, you can have the compromise, but if you don't have that communication, you're losing.
Yes, I'm still lost.
Because if we can't talk, I mean, and
because you can be doing all these other things, but we can't even have. When it's time to have a conversation,
come on,
I can't even talk to him.
And that's one of the things, as far as like you being able to talk to me, I'm even still working on. I've gotten a whole lot better. You know, sometimes I just want you to be able to just, you know, sometimes if we're in that position where we're kind of at each other's throat or whatever, and I'm not ready to communicate in that moment. Lately, you've been so great at letting me have that moment, and then we come back and revisit. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes the woman needs to recognize that point, right? You know, let him bask in that for a minute, and then maybe we can revisit that later, because I think that's where a lot of domestic violence, a lot of different things kind of happen. Not saying, because I grew up around that, and I vowed to myself that I would never put my hands on a woman, ever. I don't care, you know, I was in that environment growing up, and it was not the best thing that I've ever saw. You know, I saw my mom get beat, all that kind of stuff, but that's another story. But it's one of those things where the woman just sometimes just let him breathe.
Yeah, we do. We do need to. I would say me, but I need to learn like when to be like, okay, shut up, basically.
Right.
Like
right.
just stop.
Right.
Like you don't have to, because it's always for me in the like I want to communicate.
Absolutely.
I want to communicate.
Absolutely.
So I'll be like, no, like we're gonna talk about it like right now. Like come on, just say it. Like so, are you mad? Like why? Talk about it.
Right.
But
right.
It is better when I let your fuse die down, and then we talk about it later.
Yeah.
But I'm still working on allowing your fuse to
just go out,
and then try to come to you with the conversation.
For sure.
But for me, I'm just like all of this stuff. I was like,
again, just as a man is a prideful human being. I think when it comes to the communication component, the woman is prideful in wanting to know why, wanting to have that answer, what, wanting to know who, and wanting to know those things in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you don't get that, you go on the defense, you go on the attack, you know, but
researching, figuring out.
Yeah. And again, just as a man's being prideful, I think it's the woman's nature to want to know why we can't talk, why we can't this, why, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I will admit you've gotten a whole lot better with that. And even both of us has not been able to, you know, fully come to that happy medium when it comes to that communication aspect of our relationship, as far as let him die down sometimes. And it's not every time, because sometimes we can just be able to talk about it in the moment, you know, but sometimes we can't. You know what I'm saying?
Like the time we was going to Nebraska Furniture Mart.
I don't even remember that.
And I told you to take me home.
Oh,
He was not listening. Didn't even take me home. I was so mad.
I wasn't worried about that. I was like, man, please shut that down. She was tripping, you know. So, but I man, listen. I am so big now on, and I've always been, but I don't think I've always been the best communicator when it came to relationships. Like everything else, I was the best communicator. I could talk, I can do that. But when it came to that, I would just shut down.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was just
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, I was like,
And I would always be like, why you don't want to talk? Like, we need to talk about this. Like, why you don't want to talk? Or you would get upset. And I'd be like, why you getting upset to talk about finances? Why you getting upset to talk about that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm thinking, chill out. Like, it's just a conversation. But to you, it was more rooted issues and everything else involved in actually having to deal in that conversation.
Right.
So it was beyond the conversation I wanted to have. It was also included other things that if you have to talk about, then you would have to admit, like, I either don't know how to do it, or I'm not comfortable in that that conversation, or whatever. And so then it was just a defense, like, I don't want to talk about it, or get upset when it's time to talk about reality as such.
Right.
Like, let's talk about money. And then I'm like, why are you upset when we have to talk about money?
Right.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Right. Absolutely. You're right, man. Which brings to another one. Another C is commitment. You know, even with all that, the communication, the compromise, the consideration, the consistency, you know, without all those, also, you got to have commitment. You have to be committed in this thing. You have to be committed in this thing, whether on Wednesday we love each other and on Friday you can't stand me. Right. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some kind of commitment. Even when it came to the communication issues, we had to be committed to getting it done, to getting it fixed. When it came to consideration of you and consideration of me, we had to be committed. When it came to consistency, I was having an issue. You had an issue with me having an issue of being consistent. You had to be committed in that aspect, and I did too. And if there was no commitment going on in that relationship or in all those components, it was gonna fail.
Yeah, it was gonna fail.
It was gonna fail big time. Right. And this is one of the things that I kind of mentioned earlier in my video, in our video, is that, you know, I had been a player, unfaithful, all that kind of stuff all my life. You know, and the commitment thing was hard for me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just kind of like, you know, but I was able, and you were able. I tell people all the time, you have been the only woman that I know that has been able to tame me and be like, nigga. Excuse my language, but just, you know, just be able to do a lot of those things, man. But all in all, I am very thankful. I am very committed to you, committed to everything that we do, everything that has been mentioned in this video today. It's been amazing for me. Because, you know, I mean, like I said, man, I never thought I'd be married or in a serious committed relationship. Growing up, I never thought that. Like, because it was just all around me not to. Right. You know what I'm saying? Being around whatever, you know, it was just always, this is how you were supposed to be.
To take it long term seriously wasn't like a thing.
Yeah. It was like it was supposed to be. But
well, I never seen myself in like long term in a marriage either.
Right.
Like when we got married, like at the courthouse, like even the dream marriage wedding thing, like wasn't a thing. Yeah. It wasn't a thing to me because all I seen was divorce.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm like a stable person, so in my opinion, like long term relationships is what I can do. Like I can be stable. I can be consistent and stay and stuff. That's not a struggle for me.
Right.
Because I love you. I'm down. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No matter what. Like I can do it. But I think that the commitment is one of the hardest things that people have to learn how to do, because it's easy to fall off.
Absolutely.
Like it has to be an unconditional thing.
Absolutely.
So no matter what, like once we got married, I'm committed to you unconditionally through it all. And there's some things where you might have to take a break from.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that women or men can go through where you're like, I can't. But for the most part, I'm 100% committed to you. Like, now you're not gonna beat me, and I'm be committed. You know
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And that's basically what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But for the most part, anything that we go through, I'm 100% committed to you, even when I'm not the happiest. Like, I'm not happy with you, but I know that we married, and when I'm fixing something to eat, I'm just gonna go ahead and fix you something to eat because I still know
Right.
I'm committed to you. I'm gonna let you know, like, here, like, I'm
Right.
still gonna hand you
Right.
your plate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Even
Right.
though we upset today.
But and which is sad part, you know, everybody don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes like I personally, and I'm not knocking anybody that do, right? Money is hard. Money is one of the number one things that mess up marriages, mess up relationships. And I told you before anything, y'all go without, I'll go flip a burger.
Yeah.
I'll go work 2 jobs.
Mhm.
You're not going to do that
Mhm.
because as a man, that's for me to do.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And I just won't allow that to happen, you know. And this is one of the other C's that I definitely want to talk about is in all of this, right? You have to be courageous. You have to be courageous. You have to have courage to do every component that we talked about in your marriage, in your relationship, in any situation that you're in. You know, a lot of people say, I see people's statuses in a complicated relationship. No, it shouldn't be that complicated, you know, because it's either you in or you out. You know what I'm saying? And with all that, you have to be courageous. And I don't have one, but I was going to present a mustard seed, right? The Bible talks about we just have to have that faith of a mustard seed, and that's where you have to be courageous. That's where you have to be committed. That's where you have to be considerate. That's where you have to be consistent. That's where you have to have compromise. That's where you have to communicate and all these things. And the courageous and the faith and all that kind of stuff mounts up to everything. And if you don't have any of those components, you're gonna have the double D. You're gonna have the disaster and the divorce.
I can see being courageous because you have to be courageous sometimes to bring up hard conversations.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you kind of got to hype yourself up.
Yeah.
You take a while before you talk about it, but it's going to be burning you up. You'll be like, you know what, I just got to say it.
Yep.
And even if it might hurt your feelings and stuff, but I'm going to say it as much love as possible, but I'm going to tell you the truth about yourself.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, courageous in this commitment, because I had to have some type of courage.
Yeah.
To be able to last long in here.
Yep.
Consistent. Compromise.
Yep. And all of that.
Yeah.
And I know this ain't a C word, but also thank you. Also in that you have to be willing, you have to be able to forgive. And all of that.
That's true.
And all of that.
That's true, baby.
So
that's true. Definitely have to forgive.
Absolutely.
And be able to apologize.
Yes, absolutely. So I thank you for your forgiveness. I thank you for, being apologetic even when you don't want to, even when you feel that you shouldn't, even when you feel that you're right and you're not. And me vice versa. It's the same way. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Prideful. But anyway, that concludes our video, man. If you have any questions, concerns, gripes, complaints, leave a comment down in the box. Like and subscribe, and share. And let us know how you feel about this video. If you have questions, if you want us to elaborate, if you want to call us, if you want to do any of that, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. If you got our cell phone, hit us up, man. We love to talk to couples. We love to talk to people. Just let us know. I told my wife, I said at one point, we may even be in our ministry as far as being counseling for couples. I would love that. If that happens, to God be the glory, and if it does, Lord help. But nah. I just want to just be thankful for this platform. Thankful my wife for being able to and willing and continuing to do this thing, man. So I thank you, boo. Appreciate you. Also, last thing, we're in the financial services, man. So if you have anyone that needs life insurance, looking for investments, or even want to make
$1,000 in 30 days.
let's get it done. If you have any questions about that, hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on our cell phone or any social media platform. Guess what? LL&R, we out.
Thank you.
Peace.